He finished early. The bill didn't change, Act 1. The invoice, Scene 1. The repair was finished. The car was already outside. New front pads, new rotors, no warning lights, no grinding. The customer stood at the front desk, holding the invoice. $648. He read the total. Then the labor line. Labor guide time, 2.4 hours. Labor, $348. He unlocked his phone, opened the timer. 1 hour, 22 minutes, 14 seconds. He placed it beside the invoice. He didn't work for 2.4 hours. I looked at the timer, then at the bill. No. He worked for 82 minutes. Yes. Then why am I paying for almost 2.5 hours? The price is based on the labor guide. I'm not asking what it's based on. He tapped the screen. I'm asking where the other hour went. Behind him, Ben stopped putting away his tools. The waiting room became quiet. The customer pushed the invoice toward me. Change it.
You approved the estimate. I approved the repair. You approved the price. I approved 2.4 hours of labor. He pointed through the window. I watched him finish in 82 minutes. The car was fixed. The price had not changed. But now that he had seen how quickly it happened, the same number looked different. It's book time. I don't care what the book calls it. That is how the job is priced. That is how you avoid answering the question. He looked at Ben. How much of that 348 does he get? Ben looked at me. I hesitated. The customer noticed. How much? $86.40. He stared at me. You charged me 348. Yes. And he gets 86? Yes. So where did the rest go? The shop has expenses. He laughed once, not because it was funny. Of course it does. He left the invoice on the counter. I'm not paying until someone explains what I'm actually paying for. He walked outside. A few minutes later, another vehicle collected him. His Accord remained in the parking lot. Ben watched him leave, then looked at the invoice. He thinks you stole $348. I know. I got 86. I know. So where did it go? I looked at the labor line. 2.4 hours, a number that calculated a price without explaining one. I'll show both of you tomorrow. Ben closed his toolbox. You better. Scene 2. The customer had arrived that morning in a silver Accord. The front brakes were grinding, not squeaking, not vibrating, grinding. He needed the car for work. He drove every day, and he did not have money for unnecessary repairs. Tell me what has to be done, not what might be useful. What has to be done? I gave the car to Ben. He removed the front wheel. The inner pad was gone. Metal had cut deeply into the rotor. Ben measured both sides. Both rotors were below specification.
I brought the customer into the garage. Ben showed him the worn pad, the damaged rotor, the measurement. What about the calipers? They're moving correctly. Brake fluid? Old, but not dangerous today. Wheel bearings? Fine. I printed the estimate. Pads, rotors, labor, supplies, tax. $648. He read every line. 2.4 hours? That is the guide time. And the total will not change? Not unless we find something else and you approve it. He signed, then sat in the waiting room. Ben started the job. He did not rush. He did not search for tools. The parts had already been checked. The specifications were ready. Every movement followed the one before it. He had repeated the same repair hundreds of times. That was why it looked easy. Not because it required no skill, because the skill was already inside him. Ben installed the parts, torqued the fasteners, checked the pedal,
test drove the car, then parked it outside.
The timer showed 82 minutes. That was fast, the customer said. Ben smiled. I've done a few. The customer was happy until he saw the invoice. The faster Ben worked, the less valuable the work appeared. The customer did not see the years it took to finish in 82 minutes. He saw only the 82 minutes. That evening, Ben opened his pay screen. The job credited him with 2.4 hours. At $36 per flagged hour, he earned $86.40. If I took 3 hours, I would still get 86. Yes. If I took 1 hour, you would still get 86. So he isn't buying my time. No. What is he buying? I looked at the accord. A completed repair. Ben pointed at the invoice. Then why doesn't it say that? Act 2. Who gets paid? Scene 1. The customer returned the next morning. He carried a folder. Online prices, parts listings, screenshots, a calculator. We found pads and rotors for less. You can. So your parts are marked up. Yes. At least you admit it. Our parts arrive the same day. They include a warranty. If one fails, we remove it again. We install the replacement. And you do not pay for the repair twice. That still doesn't explain the labor. No. So explain it. I brought him into the office. On the desk, I placed his repair order. Beside it, the supplier invoice. The direct cost of the parts, delivery, disposal, card processing, Ben's pay. The customer watched the numbers shrink, but a large amount remained. There, he said. That is what I'm asking about. I opened the shop's monthly report. Rent, insurance, electricity, software access, equipment maintenance, payroll taxes, training, warranty work. The hours when technicians were present, but no approved car was on a lift. This is what your job produced. I pointed at the repair order. And this is what the building costs every month. The customer studied the pages. So the difference is the shop's gross margin. Yes. Not what you take home. No. How much do you actually keep? That depends on the month. That is not an answer. It is the only honest one. One failed part could erase several profitable repairs. One broken lift could erase the month. An empty bay cost money, whether a car was on it or not. So the bill is high because the shop is expensive. Partly. And because you need profit. Yes. And because Ben is fast. Yes. He frowned. If a worse mechanic took 4 hours, would I pay more? No. If Ben finished in 40 minutes, would I pay less? No. Then those are not clock hours. No. Then stop making them look like clock hours. The labor guide gave us a consistent estimate. It protected customers when a repair took longer than expected. It rewarded technicians who learned to work efficiently. It let us agree on a price before taking the car apart. But the invoice explained none of that. It simply said, 2.4 hours. The customer closed the folder. I'm getting another opinion. That is your right. If they say the same thing, I'll pay. And if they don't? Then one of you is lying. He left again. Ben watched him go. He understands that the building costs money. Yes. He still doesn't understand why his brake job should pay for it. Scene 2. That afternoon. Ben worked on a BMW. The battery kept dying, but only sometimes. The battery tested correctly. The alternator tested correctly. No useful fault codes.
Ben measured the current draw, normal. He locked the car, waited, measured again. Still normal. The authorized diagnostic hour ended. We still had no answer. I told Ben to continue. If he found nothing, the shop would absorb the extra time. He removed interior panels, followed wiring diagrams, disconnected modules, repeated the test. For almost 4 hours, the car behaved perfectly. Then the current draw appeared for 11 seconds.
A control module woke up after the car had already gone to sleep. Then the fault disappeared again. Ben captured the reading. We called the owner. The next step required more paid diagnostic time. The owner declined. He said he would disconnect the battery at night. Ben had worked almost 4 hours. The customer paid for 1. The shop absorbed the rest. Ben received $36 in flagged pay. He closed the laptop, then looked at the Accord outside. That brake job paid me more. Yes. And this required more skill. Yes. So why does the easy job pay and the difficult job punish me? Because the brake job has guide time, and diagnosis doesn't. It has authorized time. 1 hour. Yes. I found the fault in 4. The customer declined the next step. Ben removed his gloves. The toolbox behind him belonged to him. So did most of the tools inside it. Meters, sockets, adapters, scan equipment. Years of payments, just to arrive at work prepared.
You know what flat rate teaches mechanics? To be efficient. No. It teaches us which cars to avoid. He pointed at the BMW. A clean brake job makes money. A rusted truck loses money. An electrical fault can destroy a day. So people rush the jobs that pay. They avoid the ones that don't. And the careful mechanic can earn less than the fast one. He opened the top drawer. Inside was an envelope, the logo of another repair shop. They offered me guaranteed hourly pay. How much? Less on a perfect week. More on every bad one. When do they need an answer? Friday. It was Wednesday. You want to leave? I want to stop gambling my paycheck on what rolls through the door. What would make you stay? Ben looked toward the office. Pay me when the work is difficult. And when you beat the guide? Pay me for that too. That isn't a system. No. He closed the drawer. That is your job. Act 3. The clock scene. 1. The next morning.
I opened the Accord invoice again. The customer wanted to pay for real time, so I calculated it. 82 minutes. At the shop rate, the labor charge dropped sharply. I printed the reduced total. Before I could call him, a rusted pickup arrived. Rear brake lines. The owner needed a price. The labor guide allowed 4 hours. The visible lines were heavily corroded. The fittings were worse. It may take longer than the guide, I said. How much longer? I don't know. I had already learned what a confident guess could cost. If we use the guide price, your labor cost is fixed. 4 hours? Yes. Even if it takes 6? Yes. And if it takes 2? The price stays the same. He did not like that. What if you charge real time? Then you pay for however long it takes. That sounds fair. It sounds fair before the work starts. He chose real time. Ben raised the truck. The first fitting rounded. A brake line broke when he touched it. Rust had fused the remaining sections to the frame. 3 hours passed. The truck still had no brakes. We called the owner. He approved 2 more hours. At 5 hours, The old lines were finally out. Then a bleeder screw snapped. The correct replacement part would not arrive until morning. I called again. "We are at 5 hours. The truck still cannot leave. I cannot give you a final time." The owner remained silent, then said, "Finish it." By the time the truck was safe, Ben had spent 8.5 hours on it. I printed the invoice. The labor charge was more than double the guide price. The owner stared at it. "You said the guide was 4 hours." "Yes." "And you told me actual time was fair." "You chose actual time." "Because I thought it would take 4. "So did we." "Then why should I pay for everything that went wrong?" "The problems were on the truck." "I didn't put them there." "No." "And Ben didn't put them there either." He looked through the glass. Ben was cleaning rust from the floor. "You're charging me for bad luck." "I'm charging for the time the repair required." "That feels like the same thing." He had authorized the work, but the final number still felt like punishment. After a long discussion, we reduced part of the charge. The shop absorbed the difference. Ben had worked 8.5 hours. Under guide time, he would have been paid for 4. Under real time, the customer felt trapped by uncertainty. There was no version where everyone felt treated fairly. I looked at the 2 invoices. The Accord, 82 minutes. The pickup, 8.5 hours. The clock protected one customer and punished another. The guide protected one mechanic and punished another. Ben placed the competitor's envelope on my desk. "Friday." "I know." "What are you going to do?" I looked at both invoices. "I don't know yet." Ben nodded. At least that answer was true. Scene 2. The Accord customer returned that evening.
He carried a second estimate, $2,900. Front calipers, brake hoses, wheel bearings, brake fluid, lower control arms, alignment. Almost every item was marked urgent. The report included photographs: a dark brake hose, cracks in an old bushing, rust around the wheel hub. The images were real. The urgency was not supported. "They said your repair was incomplete," the customer said. "What did they show you?" "This." "Did they measure the wheel bearings?" "I don't know." "Did they test the calipers?" "I don't know." "Did they explain which repairs were dangerous?" "They said all of them." I picked up his keys. "Come with me." We raised the Accord. Ben removed the front wheels. This time, the customer stood beside him. Ben showed him the new brakes, then the caliper slides. They moved correctly. No binding, no leakage. He checked the hoses. Old, but dry, not swollen. He checked the wheel bearings. No play, no noise. He tested the brake fluid. It should be replaced soon. The control arm bushing had surface cracks. Worn. Not an emergency. I placed the second estimate on the workbench. Beside each item, I wrote one of 4 categories: now, soon, monitor. No repair recommended. Calipers, monitor. Brake hoses, monitor. Brake fluid, soon. Control arm bushing, soon. Wheel bearings, no repair recommended. Why did they mark everything urgent? I wasn't there. What do you think? I think they wanted to sell everything today. So they lied. They showed you real wear, but they did not explain what it meant. The customer looked underneath his car. How do I know you aren't doing the same thing? You don't. He looked at me. That's your answer? You should not have to trust my face. I pointed at the measurements. The bearing has no play. The caliper moves. The hose is dry. The fluid test shows moisture. The bushing is worn. You can see the same evidence, and you can take those measurements somewhere else. The customer looked at Ben. You agree? Yes.
Even though you would get more work if I approved everything? Ben looked at him. I get paid badly for difficult jobs. That doesn't mean I need to invent easy ones. We lowered the accord. At the front desk, I placed both invoices in front of the customer. The original fixed price, and the lower price based on 82 minutes. You asked for actual time, I said, so I calculated it. He read the lower number, then looked at the rusted pickup. What happened to that? 4-hour guide. 8.5 hours of work. What did the customer pay? Less than the actual time. Who lost the difference? The shop? And Ben? He worked the whole time. The customer looked at the two invoices. So the fixed price protects me when the job goes wrong? Yes. And rewards the shop when the job goes right? Yes. That still sounds convenient. It is. For you. For everyone. Until the invoice hides how it works.
He pushed the reduced invoice aside, then placed his card on the original one. I'll pay the price I approved. Why? The price wasn't what made me angry. He pointed at the labor line. This was. 2.4 hours. No explanation. You should have told me what it meant. Yes. He paid, then picked up the second estimate. What should I do about the fluid? Plan it within the next few months. And the bushing? Monitor it. We'll measure it again at the next service. He nodded. Before leaving, he looked at Ben. 82 minutes? Ben smiled. 81. The customer looked at me. Your invoice was wrong twice. Then he walked outside, smiling. Act 4. The New System. Scene 1. That night, I rebuilt the repair order. Not the price, the explanation. Every estimate would now show agreed repair price. Labor guide used to calculate the price. What the repair includes. What can change the price. Warranty. The final invoice would also show actual completion time.
Not because the clock changed the agreed price, because hiding it created suspicion. Every inspection item required evidence. A photograph, a measurement, a test result. And one of 4 categories. Now, soon, monitor. No repair recommended. But the customer invoice was only half the problem. Ben was waiting beside his toolbox. The competitor's envelope was beside him. I placed a new pay plan in front of him. Guaranteed hourly base pay. Enough to cover every hour in the building. Every diagnosis, every rusted fastener, every repair a customer declined. On top of that, a productivity bonus based on completed guide hours. If Ben beat the guide, he still earned more. If a difficult job destroyed the day, he did not earn nothing. He read the page. The guarantee is lower than my best weeks. Yes. The bonus could make it higher. Yes. If the shop stays busy. Yes. And if it doesn't, you still get the base. How are you paying for it? Diagnostics will no longer be free.
Customers were used to paying for repairs, not answers. That had to change. A technician could spend hours finding a fault, and the answer still had value, even if the customer declined the repair. What if they leave? Ben asked. Some will. What if the lifts stay empty? They might. What are you giving up? My draw. For how long? Until the numbers work. And if they don't? I don't know. He looked toward the office. You use that answer a lot. I learned what happens when I don't. Ben folded the competitor's offer, but he did not throw it away. 1 month, he said. We test it for 1 month.
And if it fails, I leave. Fair. The diagnostic price went up. Several customers walked away. The lifts were not always full. For the first month, the shop earned less. But Ben was paid for difficult electrical work. He was paid for the rusted pickup. And when he finished a clean job early, the bonus still rewarded him. At the end of the month, he opened the competitor's envelope, then tore it in half. "System works?" I asked. "No," he said, "but it works better." That was enough. Scene 2. 6 months later, the silver Accord returned. The same customer stepped out, but he was not driving. His daughter was. Behind the Accord, she parked an old blue Civic. The steering wheel shook at highway speed. Something knocked over bumps, and the engine light had been on for 3 weeks. Her father placed the Civic keys on the counter. "She starts a new job on Monday. She needs the car." Then he looked at me. "Tell us what it needs. Not what it might need, what it needs." Ben inspected the Civic. One front tire had a separated belt. Dangerous. The lower control arm bushing was torn. Not an emergency, but it should not wait long. The engine light came from a small emissions leak. Important, not dangerous to drive that day. We brought them into the garage. Ben showed them the tire, the movement in the bushing,
The smoke test result. Then I prepared the estimate. Now, replace the damaged tire. Soon, replace the control arm bushing and align the car. Monitor, emissions leak, schedule the repair when possible. The daughter read the estimate. "What about the engine light?" "It needs attention." "But it will not make the car unsafe on Monday." Her father nodded. "Do the tire and the bushing." The labor guide allowed 2.1 hours. Ben finished in 1 hour and 36 minutes. The price did not change. At the front desk, the daughter read the final invoice. Agreed repair price. Labor guide, 2.1 hours. Actual completion time, 1 hour, 36 minutes. Warranty, 12 months. "So I'm paying for 2.1 hours?" "No. You're paying the agreed price for the completed repair." "Then why show both numbers?" "The guide explains how we calculated the price." "The actual time tells you what happened." "And if it took 3 hours?" "The price would stay the same."
"And if something fails?" "We repair it under warranty." She looked at her father. "You're not getting another estimate?" "No." "Why?" He looked through the window. Ben was showing her the old bushing beside the new alignment measurement. "Because this time, I know what I'm paying for." She signed the invoice, then looked at the completion time. "He finished early." "Yes." "And the bill didn't change." "No." "So who benefits?" "You know the price before we start. Ben is paid for knowing how to finish early. And if it fails, we fix it again." She folded the invoice. "That makes more sense than 2.1 hours. "Yes. It should say that on the bill." After they left, I opened the template again. Under the labor line, I added one sentence. Labor guide. Time is used to set a consistent repair price. It is not a measurement of time spent on your vehicle. Ben entered the office. "Another change?" "Yes. Customers still won't read it. Some will. And the rest?"
We show them. He picked up the next repair order. Another brake job. Guide time, 2.3 hours. Maybe it would take 90 minutes. Maybe rust would turn it into 4. We did not know yet. But the customer knew the price. Ben knew how he would be paid. And if anyone asked what the number meant, we no longer needed to hide behind the book. Ben raised the next car. The lift stopped. He looked through the office window. "Clock starts now?" I shook my head. "The work starts now." Ben smiled, then removed the first wheel. Cut to black.